Let me tell you, it's always a hat lately. I have been, I've been bald for, I don't know, the last 15 years or so. And
Yeah.
during this whole epidemic, this pandemic, I chose to say, look, I'm going to suffer alongside everyone. So I have not shaved my head since this whole thing started. It looks awful right now. So I go hat all the
Really?
time now. Oh, yeah.
Well, coincidentally, it's hat night on my live tonight, so that's why I'm wearing one because I hardly ever wear a hat. So
Yeah, it looks
anyway.
good.
I've
I like it.
Thanks.
I like wearing a hat. I don't wear hats very often because of work, but this thing has got me wearing hats every day. So now I'm buying hats and T-shirts.
There you
My
go.
new addiction.
Yeah, I've got
Hat
this is my golf course that I play at locally here. It's my golf hat. So
Say Candlewood? Does it say Candlewood?
that's it. Candlewood Valley Country Club. Yeah,
Nice. So you're a golfer.
I'm a poor golfer, but I play. Yeah,
You like to play.
I do. I enjoy it, but I'm awful.
You're enjoying. That's all that matters is you're having fun, right?
That's it. That's all that matters.
I'm awful.
I'm not.
You guys went really quiet there for a second. Hold on.
All right, are we there? Is this mic?
Oh, all right.
Can you hear us now?
I got you. It seems a little tinny, but I got you.
Okay.
Probably have to get a new cord for this. It just started messing up on me the other day.
Is there a short in the cord?
Something's up with this mic cord, the connection.
Want me to lend you one?
Yeah, right. Could you just pass it through the screen? I like your mic. That looks good. I like that mic.
Yeah, it works for me. I do voiceover work as well as my own podcast too. So, you know, I like to keep one decent mic here, although I usually work from the studio with the rest of it, you know.
Awesome. What kind of voiceover work do you do?
I've been doing it for years. I work with voices.com now where people can just pick you out and choose you for an event. But I've been doing radio and different stuff for years, you know, side projects, that kind of thing.
Very interesting. My degree, I have a bachelor's degree in broadcasting as well. And, you know, I was going through my schooling, I did a lot of voiceovers too for commercials, things like that. And I really miss it. I really, really miss it.
Yeah.
Because I'm not using it right now.
You should do it. Get on to voices.com. You get on there and you just audition and send them out and people pick you up. You know, it's kind of fun.
Really? Voices.com.
Voices.com.
I have to look that up because I really do miss it. I really feel like at times that I'm not using my degree. Even though we do a podcast here, you know, we don't get paid for it. I feel like you're not really necessarily using your degree unless you're getting paid for it. I don't know why I think that. But I would like to get back into something like that again. And I didn't know that existed. So that's very interesting.
Yeah, I think there's a flat fee. It's like $500 for the year. And then you put in as many auditions as you want. And some are, you know, $100. Some are 10 grand. You never know what they're going to offer you.
Wow. What are some, if you're allowed to share, what are some interesting things that you've done voiceover work for?
Probably the coolest stuff I ever did is back a little bit. Not as much cool stuff lately, but I did at one point when CBS first launched their app. I was the voice of CBS Sports Mobile. It was you're watching CBS Sports Mobile.
Ooh.
Wow, really? That is cool.
It was really cool.
I like it.
And that is really awesome.
You know what my dream's always been, and I don't know why, but I've always wanted to be the voice of a cartoon character. And I don't know why, but I just would love it.
I would love that too. What a cool idea.
Yeah, it would be so much fun.
Did you see, since we know each other through TikTok, did you see Charlie just got that? You know, Charlie of TikTok fame, Charlie D'Amelio, she just got like a cartoon character they gave her to do now.
She did?
Crazy,
oh,
right?
Yeah. Wow.
That's so crazy.
I have one degree of separation there. I know her dad. Somewhat. We're not really close, but I know her dad.
Hopefully.
Yeah, kind of cool.
That's awesome.
That's interesting. Wow.
You know, TikTok is such a big platform. People think that it's just, you know, something out there for kids, and it's immature and it's this and that. But really, honestly, when you get in, because I kind of thought that at first, but when you get in there and you really look around and you find people that are like you, it's not just for kids. And it is a huge platform.
I agree. I mean, that was the coolest thing about finding you guys on there. I'm brand new. I'm only a couple weeks into TikTok. I'm brand new to TikTok. So it was more of a friend of mine said, you should do this because a friend of ours is doing this and she's funny and you're funny and you should do this.
Right.
And I said, let me poke around a little bit. And I said, this is really interesting because I'm a marketing and sales guy, advertising guy from way back. So it was, let me get my feet wet with this and figure this thing out. But I really like the platform. And everybody goes, oh, it's for 15-year-olds. No, it's not at all. It's fantastic.
It's a lot of fun. And for, like you said, for marketing and, well, to be yourself is exciting, but to do that and then think of creative ways to, connect with people and interact with people. There's so much interaction, which I find fun, and you can keep it positive. I know when we hit some that have blown up, you get a lot of people on there that can be negative, but you just eliminate them because there's so much positive that outweighs that negative.
And that's a huge part, is keeping it positive, trying to do that. But you guys have solid followings yourselves. Now, how long have you two been on, and how long has it taken you to get to that level of clout that you carry now with TikTok?
Oh, we've been on TikTok since February.
No, it was before
January.
Then. It was
Christmas, because we made that.
Christmas,
I think it was around maybe the holidays, actually, now that you say that. But heavily into it was more like January, February, when we started going live. Then we started going live more regularly, making more videos more regularly, trying to put content out there. Before that, we were just doing a video here, a video there.
Well, then the thing is we didn't realize now as I talked to, because I do a lot of sales consulting with mostly insurance agencies, and this has helped me show them how you can market yourself nowadays. You don't market your agency. You don't market the brands you sell. You market Buckbee, and people buy from you. They want to see your content because you're consistent, you're interesting, and then all of a sudden they're like, what do you do? And you tell them, and they want to deal with you because they know you, and they like your vibe or whatever you want to call it. But that's what when I first started, I was like, this is stupid. The girls want me to do it. I was like, I'm not going to dance. I'm not going to act stupid. But they're like, you do it all the time. You just don't do it on camera. And so
Perfect.
One, it's not local. It feels like I'm kind of anonymous in a way. I don't feel that way as much now, but it's not like my clients are on there like they are Instagram or on Facebook and might have questions for me. And they have found it. I've had agents and others find it and not make fun of me at all. They actually are like, they think it's funny and cool, and they didn't know I had that side to me. But for me, I got into it and I didn't realize, and I've told the story, you might have even heard it, about I did a couple of videos, and then my fourth one that I did one with her. But all of a sudden I had to turn my notifications off because it was getting so many comments and likes, and it's hit like 2 million views, and I was done then. So at that point I was like, all right, how do you get, now let's brand Angie Fitco. Let's get people to our site. Let's get people to the YouTube page.
Right.
And I could never do that on Instagram.
Right.
And this is a whole different thing. I didn't realize the strength of the age population that we have, right? I'm 48 years old. You guys are a little younger than me, but there's a massive amount of people on here who are, that are Gen X, that are even some boomers that are on here, but really the Gen X population on here really surprised the hell out of me. I didn't expect that at all.
Oh, yeah. Have you been called boomer yet?
No.
Oh, my gosh. We're called boomer all the time, and I'm called Karen all the time. Karen and boomer all the time, and I'm not even a boomer. It's the funny thing.
Yeah, we're not boomers. You're right.
That's the thing. I think Gen X has some clout there, too. I mean, our generation really is. I always love the memes you see out there, right, that are saying boomers hate millennials, millennials hate boomers. And we're sitting in between here. Gen X is like, go ahead, why don't you shut up, Karen?
Yeah.
I need to sit back and have a drink.
Exactly. What are you drinking?
I'm drinking scotch.
Oh, okay.
Beautiful.
Um, but you were already branding yourself. You say you've only been on TikTok for a couple of weeks. You're already branding yourself. Obviously, you know what you're doing if you're into marketing. You're branding yourself for that room. I mean, Jeff and I have noticed that room.
Very
And
smart.
that's so brilliant because that draws people in to see. You know what I'm saying?
I need something. If I'm not going to be doing this as Santa Claus, which is introduced a little bit too, because that's a part of what I do.
Sure.
But using the room and it's great because I love seeing the comments about it, and that's where I work. That's my office, is what you're seeing there. I run a park for a living, and it's a former estate, so it's an old 48-acre estate. The house is built in the 40s. It is gorgeous. It's a snapshot of the 40s. So I'll introduce more of the house later on, but I'm trying to draw a little more of that out before I get too crazy into it.
Perfect.
Yeah, I would drag it out a little bit because that room, and two, it's, marketing. You get a consistent spot. I mean, she does that on Instagram stories, especially not this time of year mostly, but there's a spot, and people notice when she does her afternoon lives. They're like, wait a minute, or videos and posts, and it's like, wait a minute, where are you? You're not in
right.
It's almost like they look for the spot you're in before they look
It's
for
like
you.
it's funny because it's like in our Jeff's morning live, we're in the bed drinking coffee. My noon live, well, it can be various places, but 5:00 we're usually in the kitchen. 8:00 we're in the same spot on the couch. When I do my IG, do you do Instagram like IGTV?
No, I don't.
Okay, so I'm big on I'm big at not big on Instagram, but I'm big at Instagram. And I do IGTV videos.
Mm-hmm.
And when I do those in the summer and the spring, I'm always in the same spot on my deck with the same background. You can see the same background. And people are used to that. And I think that's so important when you're branding yourself. So I don't know. I like that. So that's what you're doing when you're doing that in that room. And so I think that's amazing.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, it's all intentional. I was going to do it as the park, but I said I'm going to do it as me. And because my brand is a little bit different than the parks. The park's been here for over 50 years. It's an amazing story to itself, the park. But, for me, I'm a local guy. That's why I started doing this in Connecticut. I'm in the largest township in Connecticut, in New Milford. So we're still a small, backcountry town, but we're 60 something square miles. So it's a pretty big township as far as where we are, and I'm the state rep for the town. I do a lot of local, programming and events in town, especially for the park here too, which is kind of an iconic spot. So it's like local famous, you know what I mean? It has nothing to do with using TikTok for all that, but this is such a local iconic spot that I wanted to start. Let me see if I can connect those two and make this interesting because it's such a beautiful place. Wait till you see the rest of the house. It's gorgeous.
I can't
just
wait.
Outside too. When you took out when you went outside on that TikTok, I was like, "That's what in the world?" That's just not many people. There can't be too many people that live that close to that kind of beauty.
Yeah, it was really pretty.
It's a gorgeous spot, and the guy that built it passed away in the '60s. And not to get too deep in the woods here on this, but he found the property, and he lived in New York City, and we're about 2.5 hours outside of New York City. And he bought the place to build his estate here because it reminded him so much of Ireland where he grew up. So the rolling falls behind the house is still river there. It's absolutely amazing. And then, like I said, it's 48 acres of gorgeous nature. And we have peacocks here. I did one thing with the peacocks. I was feeding the peacocks. Yeah. I raised peacocks.
That's my favorite animal.
He's a freak about peacocks.
Oh, I raise them.
I have a peacock feather tattoo on my back. I'm gonna get a peacock tattoo on my hip and my leg that Jeff actually drew.
That's awesome.
I have a whole peacock room downstairs that I have decorated all
really?
around peacocks. You know what? I noticed on your sweatshirt or something in one of your videos you had a peacock. I did notice that.
He has a peacock Christmas tree at Christmas.
I do. I have a whole. I love. Oh my gosh! Now we have to go see Buckbee if he raises peacocks.
Well, we only have 4. We have a mated pair, and then they had 2 kids this past July. When I was a kid coming to this park, there used to be peacocks, and for over 30 years there were no birds here. They've died off, and I really pushed as director of the park with the board. Like, I want to bring these guys back. We brought a mated pair in, and then in July they had babies. So I have 2 pea babies that are be turning, one in July. We don't know if they're male or female yet. So we have Big Frank, who's if you want to get a good look at him, look up Harry Brook Park. Look it up on like Facebook, something like that. You'll see Frank and Liz, the peacocks.
Harry Brook.
I'll write it down.
I seriously am obsessed with peacocks and elephants, but I really love, I love peacocks.
Well, I'm a Republican. There's your elephant part.
Yeah, right. I'll have to show you on my live one night. I'll take it downstairs and show you the peacock that Jeff drew because he likes to draw. And we printed it out on a canvas and we hung it up on our wall. And I want to do that as a tattoo, like starting on my hip area and like going down my leg in color. I think it would be so awesome.
Very cool. Yeah, I have a friend of mine. She's kind of my friend's will-be daughter-in-law soon. But anyway, she's like 25, just did a full peacock down her hip, down to her knee. It's beautiful.
Oh, I bet that's so pretty.
Tell us a little about your podcast because we want to promote it. I want to put it out there when we do promote this podcast.
Yeah.
You guys seem to you've got so many more episodes under your belt. I've been podcasting probably for, I want to say it's close to 8 or 9 years at least now, in different platforms, in different ways to do it. I was really on the first run of doing these, and I've bounced a little bit. But the one I do now is strictly for fun. It's called The Bar is Low with Mike and Mo. And Mo has been my nickname for years. It's short for slow-mo or short for moron, whatever you want to use. But and it's Mike with a Y. The Bar is Low with Mike and Mo. And he's one of my closest friends. We do the shows. He's I don't know, like 14 years younger, so we have mildly different perspectives on life. I'm a single guy. He's married with 2 kids, little babies at home. But he's really at that peak end of the millennial, and me being Gen X, we bring different perspective. But the show is about nothing. It's kind of like a Seinfeld show. It means nothing. It's about nothing. It's just a fun show where we get on and just rant about whatever is on our minds for that week, and never any consistency to it. We're working on that right now, though.
That's kind of how ours is when we don't have guests. A lot of times we'll have focuses on like maybe relationships or motivation, but really if you go back and start listening to them, a lot of them, they're just us getting on here and recording ourselves.
Yeah.
Ranting, talking about things.
We just like to keep it. Yeah. We just like to keep it organic. And I don't know if I told you, but how we came up with the podcast, it was Jeff's idea. We sit around and chit chat, all the time before we started doing our lives on the couch, just like talk. And he's like, I have an idea. Let's just start a podcast and let's just talk about what we're talking about on the couch. And I said, perfect. Yeah. I love it. Yeah. So it's
because we'll be laughing about something, or I'm sitting there because I'm a big podcast fan. So I was listening to them and I'm like, we can record one. Not that they're the best quality, especially the first 100, but it's like, we can do this. It won't cost that much. And I would see her laughing, or I would see her get in this really frustrated state where she's going off about something. And I was like, I want to record this.
Right.
Me frustrated going off? What?
I mean, the shows I used to do it started out being strictly for promotion. I worked for a company and we were launching a new app at the time. So I was reaching into my bag of tricks and pulling out old friends, and we were talking about dropping names. That's where I started with old wrestler friends that I knew from a past life, where I knew guys like Kevin Nash and Tommy Dreamer and Ken Shamrock, and we bring those guys on and they'd talk a little bit, and then we kind of boost them into something else. So, I mean, I had Larry Dixon on, who's an incredible drag racer. We had different people that we bring in who are from different walks of life. We're all great stories, and that's what it all comes down to, is just telling fun stories,
Yeah, absolutely. And since we've been on TikTok here, we've met so many interesting people, including yourself. We've had a few. We've had other TikTokers on here. We had the tattoo congressman. John was on here. Mm-hmm. We had him on, and there's a couple other from TikTok that we want to have on here. So I like you. I like to just bring all different types of people with different interests, with different likes. We've had local people on. We've done more guests since we have been on this kind of like whatever you want to call it. I like to call it stay put people because I don't like the word lockdown or quarantine. So But since we've had that, we've had a lot of Zoom guests, and I love it.
It's a fun idea. And I was talking to Mike about this. We recorded a show yesterday, should be up tomorrow. And I told him I was going to be doing this with you guys. I was like, I want to invite them to do our show. He's like, yeah, that's great. Just because there's no one point of content. We want to have different feedback and outlook and what people are doing. Because I can sit here in my lockdown and quarantine here in my attic and put on a fun little show and talk to him. But it's kind of fun to get different perspectives from everybody around the board. And he's a big Pats fan. So when I told him I was bringing another Bears fan on, he was like, oh, poor guy. That's a shame.
Well, Jeff will be sure he wears his Bears hat if we do this.
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh yeah, I get it.
And I'll wear your other one.
Yeah, that's right.
Excellent. Love it.
But you do meet people. The funny thing is like you said, locally, we've had people that I don't even know, just acquaintances that have messaged me and quoted something in a podcast, and I'll go, I'm sorry. What is that? And he'll start he'd start laughing and saying, this is on episode number 106. And I'm like,
wow.
I don't remember saying that. This is back in the beginning, and now we're friends. But I've had some of this. And then for me, which is weird because I've never thought about really being on the radio, but the guy that has a sports talk show now, he calls me because he listens to my podcast whenever he needs a fill in. And he has me, and I'm like, I don't do radio. He's like, you do a podcast. I'll listen to him. It's the same thing. Yeah. We prep a little more. You can't say the things you say on there all the time.
Yeah, Jeff gets inappropriate.
Right. I'm sorry.
We have an agenda. But I mean, so that like new doors open, fun things, experiences that you never really even considered having that I enjoy.
Yeah, I got to tell you, when I did another podcast, I did one for the park for a while when I had someone else I was working with, and I stopped into a store, and I was actually doing promotion for the park. I was like, hey, I want to drop off some information to, sponsor our events coming up, and we do some really fun, different events. And he went, oh, I know who you are. I listen to your podcast every week, and thanks for last week. You talked about this. I was like, whoa, this is awesome. Yeah. And the podcast has incredible reach, more so than people think, too. Yeah, just like TikTok.
Yep, agree.
Yeah, and maybe offline we'll talk about who you use, like to up. We use Podbean because that's who I got with when I started it, and it keeps your stats. You can see the reach. Which
I
is
use Libsyn. Libsyn is who I've been using from day one. Again, they keep the stats; they're good. It's inexpensive. That's the great thing about it. It's a fun little hobby that's inexpensive to do and can have great results. Like this is just a great result to it. I think is kind of cool. It's the fact that we happen to mention, and I don't even know how we got started with the whole conversation. But like, you podcast, I podcast. That's kind of fun. That's cool. Let's talk about it. I love that.
Exactly. We need to up our equipment though. Like I know we need headphones because I'm sure you've already gathered just from being with us for like a week or so. I can get loud, and
no.
You know how it is being what you're doing when I don't have headphones in, so I can't control. Like when I was on radio, I was on radio for a while, and there I was in an actual studio. I had the microphones, like the nice microphones and the headphones. I could hear it. I could control it. Here, we don't have headphones in. So I get loud. I laugh loud. If I get fired up, Jeff has to like push the mic away. But I go back and listen to our podcast, and I'm like, dang, I'm loud, So it's hard. It's hard.
It is. It's tough. And again, I usually do mine in a studio with my buddy Mike. He owns a studio here in town, and we'll go over there and do it. But since this all started, his wife has told him no one is allowed in your studio. That doesn't happen. So Mo's not coming over. Mo, you got to figure something else out. So I keep this here as my setup for the other stuff, and it worked out that we've been doing it. I think we recorded via Zoom last time, but we've been doing it otherwise. We did separate recordings. He recorded his, I recorded mine. I sent it to him. It's a little complex that way, but this was better to keep us for the most part together on a chat.
Yeah.
Well, the audio quality is really good for being distant because we've done some with a recording, a guy who records artists, a recording artist down in Atlanta, and we did it on the phone. We just set them on the phone. We did one with the Globetrotter guy.
We had a Harlem Globetrotter on.
And we did it on the phone, and I thought, man, I will never do that again.
Right.
Even if they don't want to be seen, you can just do audio only.
Right.
And it's so much clearer. And like for you, you have a professional mic, so you're going to sound amazing.
Yeah.
Well, as amazing as I can sound. That's the hard part. But
No, but it's good. It sounds good. It really sounds good.
But I love that you started dropping some names in there. You're with the Harlem Globetrotter guys. I'm dropping some names. I got to tell you, one of the coolest guests I ever had. You mentioned Atlanta. He lived down there for a while, but he was an old wrestler. He wrestled for a while, but he works with Major League Baseball now because his father worked in Major League Baseball. And you start getting into these stories, and he's the first one that told me during a podcast, and I've had him on several. He'd be like, just watch your toes, because I'm going to start dropping names. Just watch your toes. I'm going to be lighten up your feet.
That's good.
And he did. He was great. His name is Dale Torborg. If you ever want to look up a great guy.
Oh, that's awesome.
Dale
Torborg. His father is I believe Jeff Torborg. He used to be a manager for the Yankees and the White Sox. Dale became best known as the Demon wrestler in WCW days. He looked like Gene Simmons, had his face painted like Gene Simmons.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's Dale. And
Okay.
Dale is
all right. Yep.
Dale's like 6'5", 6'6". He's a beast. The guy's a monster. And one of the most incredibly gentle, amazing guys you'll meet. Just a super sweetheart of a guy. And his wife was Asia. Remember the wrestler who was Asia?
Yeah.
Christy. So they are just the nicest people in the world. They're down in Florida. And but again, I've had him on several podcasts. And that's the one thing that cracks me up. He's talking about meeting Madonna and Rosie O'Donnell and Hulk Hogan and Macho Man. He's just dropping names all over the place. It's just raining names. So it's funny.
That's what you want to hear.
Yeah, it's fun stories.
Like I want to hear that stuff. If people have people they've met, stories of people where the listeners know those people, those famous people, and have watched them or seen them or rooted for them. Yeah. It's kind of fun to hear another person tell a story about them.
Yeah. So you talk a lot about wrestling. Are you a wrestling fan, or do you just happen to know wrestlers?
I grew up with it. I wouldn't say I'm a fan. I wouldn't say I'm not a fan either. You know what I mean? I have nothing against it. It's just not my thing to turn on now and watch. But I worked for a promotion for a while in Orlando, and that's when we first hired a couple of guys in. So that's where I met Kevin Nash and Tommy Dreamer and Dale. And Dale's the one that set the whole thing up with meeting all these guys to do promotions for us. And it's kind of oddly, there's always a connection to wrestling somewhere with the stuff that we're doing and finding someone, and always a wrestler somewhere.
Yeah, I was just curious. Wild. Yeah, there's two guys that came in the gym one time. They're amateur wrestlers,
right?
But they came into the gym one time where I work, and they were working out. And anyway, they approached me after the workout, and they had opened up at Anytime Fitness in Knoxville, Tennessee. And I was the trainer at the Anytime Fitness that they were at. Anyway, long story short, they were like, yeah, we're amateur wrestlers. I'm like, really? And they're like, yeah, entertainment wrestling. And I was like, okay. Well, I look them up, and it's so funny to see them like in the gym. They were like these normal people. And then when I looked them up on their amateur wrestling site, they're like, whoa, like show wrestling style. It's so funny. And they're like a team. They're a wrestling team. Like they have the tag team wrestlers, right? Right, where you're like, what? It was there. Is that such a thing still?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like you're like, and then like you tag your wrestler wrestler friend,
and
then they come in, and then they start. That's what they did.
Well, it's funny you mentioned Knoxville, Tennessee. Knoxville now, the mayor of Knoxville in the county there is a guy named Glenn Jacobs, and that's the guy who was Kane. He was the Undertaker's brother, Kane.
You're kidding.
Glenn Jacobs now the mayor down in Knoxville. Yeah.
Huh.
That is very interesting. That is so funny. Wrestling. Well, I mean, I grew up watching wrestling as well.
Oh, I did. We had matches at church. We did. Me and the boys, we had matches. Somebody'd be Sting, somebody'd be Hulk Hogan.
The SmackDown of the pulpit.
Yes.
That's great.
Yeah, I spoke with Hulk once. We're doing a promotion, and somebody gave me his phone number, and I'm sitting down in Orlando, and I called them up in Tampa, and I was like, somebody took my phone, called them, handed me the phone, and I was like they're handing me. Now, well, I was a kid growing up, saying my prayers, eating my vitamins, brother, all that. I'm like in awe. They handed me the phone. I'm like, hi, Terry, how's it going, brother? What's going on? What are you guys doing up there? I'm like, this is so surreal. He spoke like that all the time. And, we just couldn't afford him. I was looking for a $10,000 appearance. He was like, I don't get off my couch for less than $75,000, brother.
Oh my gosh.
Not my price range, but I heard you just didn't you just file for bankruptcy? But okay, cool. Thank you. You never know.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's hysterical. Switching gears for a second. So those of us, well, those, out in podcast land can't really, well, they can see you, I guess, on
Yeah,
video.
they'll be able to see
But
you.
so now you obviously, do you have a Santa gig?
It's yeah, I've been doing it since the third grade. But I wrote a book a few years back. I've been in movies. I've done, well, not really much in movies, but there's been some there. I do Christmas Eve appearances. I own my own business called SantaClausCompany.com. And I do private videos for kids. In fact, my podcast partner, Mike, is my little Jewish CEO. He's my chief elf officer. And
Health office.
so we have it as a business. We do videos, like private videos for kids that we send all over the world. I've done for France, for England, for all over. And we do private videos, and I do personal appearances around here as much as I possibly can. I've always said if I can grow a thick black mustache and wear a Hawaiian shirt and look really cool driving a Ferrari, I'm Thomas Magnum all day. But this is what I got. You're given this, you run with what you got.
That's right.
It's perfect. It's perfect.
Thank you.
I mean, I showed my dad last night on the live.
Yeah.
And we try to get him to do it as well, but he doesn't have your personality. So my dad, who looks just like Santa as well, does not have the jolly personality that you have. He's a little bit on the grumpy side.
Yeah.
So he doesn't, but people in the Charleston area will call him to do, like, I've had people message me on Facebook like, hey, you think your dad would do this Christmas party for such and such country club? I'm like, nope, he won't do it.
He might, and if he did,
No,
he might get in a fight.
He wouldn't. I asked him. He won't do it. He just won't do it.
Wow.
I'm like, Dad, you can make some cash,
You can. Yeah. I mean, I went from early on to doing it here and there, and I still, probably 90% of my appearances are for charity. I don't charge for them, but my going rate's like $250 an hour though for a business. If they want me to come in and promote and do something, yeah, I get $250 an hour.
Yeah.
Plus travel.
Do you do like Jeff had this amazing idea, and maybe it wasn't his original idea. Maybe you already do this, but he was saying something like my dad should do like on Facebook, like advertise, hey, do you need Santa to call your kid on FaceTime and keep them in line? Like, like you did with Brooke last night when she flipped off the camera like that. Do you do that?
Brooke, yeah, you. I do FaceTime during the holidays. And what's odd lately is some of the kids have found mom and dad's phone and found Santa Claus, and I'm going to call out of nowhere. And I'll look at it. I'm like, I don't know that number, but I'll answer and say hello. And it's a kid going,
oh, no, you are kidding me.
Oh, no, it happens. And you have to stop what you're doing and drop into character and be like, okay, are you still studying even though you're locked in at home? I do this weird, my voice changes to like a Richard Attenborough knockoff. This is the plan.
That is great. Do you have like a killer Santa suit?
I do. My suit, the one that I've been wearing the last 2 years, is off the chain. I'll have to send you a picture of it. It's a full robe, the big white fur. It's far more classic. It comes with a vest and a shirt and tie with a vest and the jacket. It's unbelievable. Beautiful suit. That
is awesome. One year, we lived in a neighborhood where they did Santa visits. Like, remember that when we lived in my mom's neighborhood? Anyway, and like Santa would go around to each house of the neighborhood. Well, I got to play Mrs. Claus one year, and I got to go with. Yes. And I got to go with Santa, and I had my wig on, my little glasses. And that's like so me. Like I get into that stuff. And so we went house to house. Well, the houses that wanted to participate, obviously. And we would go inside, sit in their living room. We took a little gift, a little candy cane. The kids loved it. And it was such a good feeling. I can't imagine being able to do that like as actual Santa. I was just the side chick.
Let me tell you, side chick. I'm learning so much about you here.
Santa's side chick.
So no, I do Christmas Eve visits, which are my favorite of everything I do. I do. My town I live in is quintessential New England town. We have a big town green with a bandstand, and when I can show up there, turn the lights on for the year, and all the kids, you get hundreds of kids standing around. there's no feeling like it. You're all the Beatles rolled into one. I mean, you're just the ultimate star, you know. And but when I do Christmas Eve visits, I roll up and I go into their house. Usually some presents left in the garage, and I'll put them over my shoulder. I go into the house, and I have a full sheet they fill out for each kid. So I know the kid's name, I know the dog's name, I know the kid's teacher, the whole thing. And I'll go into the house, and I have a tiny Bluetooth that sits in under my hat. And I have my elf in the car, and we have that entire, when the kids come in, I know every single thing about that kid when they walk in the room. And it's such an incredibly magical experience that there's nothing like it. There really is nothing like it.
I couldn't imagine. Because I remember how I felt about Santa as a kid. And if a Santa came into my actual house while I was awake, and you knew me and my dog and my teacher, I would be like fascinated.
There was a girl, I'm going to go back about 3 years. And there were 3 kids. Dad was in Bosnia at the time, so mom was home alone. And they had me come over, and the oldest was 12. So, I mean, you get to 12 years old, you're doing pretty good. If your kids still believe at 12 years old, that's a feat in and of itself. So I go in this house not knowing that when the kid went to bed, her mom came by her room and the kid was crying. Aww. And she stuck her head in, and the daughter said, she goes, what are you crying about? She goes, well, I know Santa's not real. My friends told me he's not real. And I won't ruin it for everybody else, but I know he's not real. And mom was like brokenhearted. This girl's telling her this on Christmas Eve, but knows that I'm going to be there in a couple hours. I came in. I didn't have the earpiece at the time. The mother was one of those overdoing mothers who sent pages and pages of stuff. And I'm trying to read it between stops, trying to get the kid's name down even. Right. I get in the house, and son of a gun, she's got 2 trees, first off. I'm like, that's not fair to do. I don't know which tree to go to. It's driving me nuts. So I go find the one by the fireplace, and there's a plate of cookies. So I am all about having the cookie, too. Don't get me wrong. That's a bonus. Yeah. So I go in the house. I grab the cookie. I turn around, and she's probably about 20 feet away from me in a doorway. No one woke her up. She just heard me and woke up and came down and saw me. And I called her by name, and she about fell over. And I called her over, and it was unbelievable how much I remembered off of that sheet. I remembered her teacher, the stuff she was doing. She used to go to a farm and visit a pig. And I knew the pig's name. Like, everything flooded back to my head. This kid freaked out. I mean, she just purest smile you've ever seen on a kid's face. Ran over, gave me a hug, and her mother comes downstairs with the other 2 kids and sees me giving her a hug. And the mom is kind of stoic. I'm like, okay, great. Mom's not as into this, but this kid's going to believe till she's 50 now. Like, there's no question. This kid, like, Santa just walked into my house. I leave. Mom says goodbye. I get out to the car, and Mike goes, how'd you do it? But that was one of the most magical experiences I've ever had. It was amazing. And he checks his phone for the text from the mom, and we wait for it. Finally, it pops up. She said, I had to, with everything I have, hold on, because I was about to start crying because she had just told me that she didn't believe in Santa Claus anymore, and her dad's not here. He's in Bosnia, and the whole thing. The mom was floored and was doing everything she could to keep her stuff together before she fell apart. So the magic that you have this ability to create is off the charts. It's such an amazing
feeling. That's so awesome.
That is amazing.
That's awesome.
That would be fulfilling. I think Nate knows. Nate is 12 now, but he was 11 at Christmas. Yeah. And she's like, there's a time to tell him, right? And she's like, I told the girls. Yeah, no, I'm killing your business here. She's like, I had to tell the girls about Santa and sex, so you get to talk to Nate. So I wait until I wanted to do it several times, but it was hard to do.
Yeah.
Because you think he would know because he's in his last year of grade school. And I just, in the kitchen, like a dad does, I go, hey, Nate, you know about Christmas, right? And he was like, yeah. I was like, about Santa. And he just gave me a strange look. I was like, you know about Santa? And he was like, what about Santa? And I was like, do you know he's not real? And he had this look on his face, and he goes, yeah, my friends told me. And I go, okay, buddy, I just want to talk to you about it. And he looked at me, he goes, so he's not real.
Yeah.
Like he wanted, I
Oh.
don't think he wanted
I know.
to believe his
I
friends,
know.
you know?
So one of my best friends, she had to literally pull her daughter aside. Not kidding you, it's a true story. Before she went to college, because she knew me, and she said Mo. She'd always say Mo is Santa. Mo is Santa. We just happen to know him. It's kind of cool. And at 16 years old, this kid shot me a text and said, "Hey, I want this certain sweatshirt for Christmas." And I was like, "Why the hell is she telling me what kind of sweatshirt she wants for Christmas? I don't understand that." And I texted the mom. She went, "You got to be kidding me." And she literally had to pull her aside before college to say, "Honey, he's not really the guy,
so
right?"
Great.
And she went, "I believed entirely that was him."
Aww.
They just got to, they're still close and they've just graduated college, but there's so many people that I got to meet and grow up with, all these kids, that they still know me, and they're just like, they'll see me in the supermarket, last week, and they'll see me and walk by and go, "Hey, Santa," just high five,
That's great.
It's kind of cool. They just live with Santa in the town.
That's great.
In a town like that too, it kind of is cool because then you can believe in Santa in a way, because it's this guy in your town that's been Santa your whole life, and you probably tell people at college, "Hey, go back home. You can meet. Maybe we'll run into Santa at the supermarket."
And it's funny because the belief does extend, and I take so much pride in that. Like when people say, "Oh, tell him you're his helper," I'm like, "No, I'm him." And
That's
I've had
awesome.
parents who believe again now too. I have a suit I call the Miracle Suit. It's like Miracle on 34th Street. I get the red derby and the sport coat and the vest and the cane, and I walk around. And I'm more than happy to wear that walking around town. 7 kids come up and be like, "Hey, Santa." I'm like, "Oh, how are you today? It's wonderful to see you. Wonderful. Oh, so good to see you." And you just dive into it. Just do it.
I love it.
Get lost in it.
Yeah, and even as hard, I told you my dad was, when they go out, and if a kid spots him in public and questions at all, he will kind of play the part. Kind of.
Not?
Yeah, because they'll say, because the kid will say, "Are you Santa?" And he won't talk to him really. He'll just go, "Shh," like that, just like the shh part, and they like light up. Yeah,
I give the wink.
It's really.
I've seen a kid in the supermarket staring at me, trying to figure it out, and you can see they're like 6 years old, ideal age. They're staring me down, looking. I'll walk down the aisle and grab like a bunch of Chips Ahoy and just throw them all into my cart and keep walking. It's the coolest thing. It's so much fun to play with.
That's so great. I love that story.
And this is short. I took like 6 inches off of it. I mean, it was down to here. It was great.
So do you grow it out for like the holidays?
Yeah, I let it grow now. I mean, I trimmed it early January. Took 3 inches off then and 3 inches off. No, I took 6 inches off then. I took 3 inches off last summer. So I try to keep it as neat as I can, but
Yeah. My dad grows his out more towards the holidays on purpose. My mom hates it. But he has to do it. He has to do it. So it's fun. Yeah, exactly.
It's fun to do.
Buckbee, thank you for being on with us. I hope that we can come onto your podcast sometime, and I want you to come back.
Yeah.
And do
it'd be awesome. I had a blast with you guys. I always have a fun time talking to you guys anyway, which is why I'll follow along. And you can tell I'm long-winded, so when I'm trying to get it down in a sentence or two on TikTok, it's a little difficult for me to come on, I can't say to cut off with letters.
I know. I'm the same way. I have the same problem. I really do. It's really bad. But I'm glad that we met you, though, on TikTok, just out of the blue. It's crazy how you meet these people out of the blue and out of nowhere.
Yeah.
If you would have never clicked on our live, we'd have never known. So.
And I don't even remember what it was to drive me to it. It was something you did that was funny, because I only follow funny people.
Yeah.
I think it was something. I saw something Angie came up as something funny for me, and I followed that. Then it popped up like they're live. I'm like, oh, there's live on TikTok? Check that out. Let's click on that button.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun.
Yeah, it's so much fun. But we'll have you on again.
If you'll be on.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd love to. I'd love to come back, and I'll talk to Mike about when we're going to record, have you guys come on.
Perfect.
Awesome.
That sounds
great. It's fantastic. So glad I've gotten to know you guys. It's been a blast.
Yeah, you too. And we'll have you back. And then, of course, when we do Zoom nights, you'll be on Zoom nights with us. So we'll do that too. So
I'm game.
Yep.
I'm around.
Perfect. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
All right, Buckbee. Have a good evening.
You too. Bye.